Onboarding a new GoHighLevel client is not just about creating a sub-account and sending them a login. You may need to connect their domains, configure email sending, purchase a phone number, register their business for texting, connect their calendars and inboxes, set up payments, collect business information, and customize the account around the service you actually sold. But here is the important part. Not every client should receive the same onboarding process. An agency selling voice AI to a home service business will need different information and integrations than an agency providing reputation management, social media management, or a complete CRM and automation system. In this video, I will show you how to onboard a GoHighLevel client from start to finish. We will cover the core setup that most client accounts have in common, and then walk through several different service scenarios so you can adapt the process to your own offer. What's going on, everybody? This is Jesse's AI clone. Don't worry, Jesse still writes and reviews all of the content before it gets posted. On this channel, we break down GoHighLevel, AI, and automation in a practical, beginner-friendly way. If you are interested in trying GoHighLevel, Jesse's affiliate link is in the description below. If you sign up through Jesse's affiliate link and need help getting started, you can also schedule an onboarding call with him. He will help you get your own HighLevel account set up so you can better understand the platform and feel more confident when it is time to onboard your own clients. Now, let's walk through the client onboarding process. Before we get into the setup, you need to define what you actually sold. This sounds obvious, but your offer determines almost everything that comes afterward. If you sold a complete marketing system, you may be responsible for the CRM, pipelines, websites, forms, calendars, phone calls, email, text messages, payments, and automations. If you only sold reputation management, you may need a much smaller setup. If you sold voice AI, you will need information about the business, its services, operating hours, service areas, frequently asked questions, call routing rules, and what the AI should do when it cannot help someone. If you sold social media management, the focus may be account connections, brand assets, content approval, posting frequency, and the client's brand voice. So, before creating anything, write down 3 things. What did the client purchase? What does your team need to configure? And what information access or approvals do you need from the client? That gives you the foundation for the rest of the onboarding process. Before we start the setup, here's a quick way to keep track of where I am inside HighLevel. Look at the upper left corner of the screen. If you see settings with a go back button, that means I'm inside the sub-account settings. When I'm working in the regular sub-account features, you can look at the left-hand menu and the page heading to see whether I'm in calendars, conversations, payments, automation, or another part of the platform. I'll move between these areas throughout the video, so use the upper left corner, the page heading, and the highlighted menu item to help you follow along. Once the agreement is signed and the initial payment has been completed, you can create the client's sub-account inside GoHighLevel. Start by entering the correct business name, business email, phone number, physical address, website, and time zone. If you serve a particular industry or sell a repeatable offer, this is also where a snapshot can save you a significant amount of time. A snapshot can load pre-built workflows, funnels, forms, calendars, pipelines, custom fields, custom values, dashboards, and other assets into the new account. Instead of rebuilding the same system for every client, you can start with a proven foundation and customize it for that business. However, do not assume the snapshot is ready simply because it loaded successfully. You still need to review every asset, replace placeholder information, confirm the correct users and phone numbers, update links, and test the workflows before anything goes live. The snapshot gives you a starting point. It does not replace the onboarding process. One of the easiest ways to keep onboarding organized is to create an onboarding form or survey for the client. Instead of requesting information through a long email thread, collect it in one structured place after the client purchases. The form can ask for universal information such as the legal business name, the main business address, the primary phone number, the website and domain provider, the business hours, the services offered, the staff members who need access, the main point of contact, the client's logo, colors, and other brand assets. Then, add questions that are specific to the service you sold. A voice AI client may need to provide qualifying questions, common customer objections, call transfer instructions, emergency rules, and appointment booking requirements. A reputation management client may need to provide their Google business profile, the point in the customer journey when a review should be requested, and the staff members who should receive notifications. A social media client may need to provide brand guidelines, preferred topics, prohibited topics, examples of previous content, and the approval process for new posts. If the client does not complete the form immediately, you can create a workflow that sends reminders until the information is submitted. This prevents your team from manually chasing every missing item. The information collected during onboarding can help you populate the client's custom fields and custom values. These two features are related, but they serve different purposes. Custom fields normally store information connected to an individual contact, opportunity, company, or another record. For example, you might create a custom field for a lead's preferred service, property type, estimated budget, or appointment preference. Custom values are reusable pieces of business information that can be inserted throughout the account. Examples could include the company name, support email, booking link, office address, logo URL, business hours, or main phone number. If those values are used throughout your emails, text messages, funnels, and workflows, you can update the information in one place instead of editing every individual asset. This is another reason your onboarding form should match your offer. The questions you ask should give you the exact information needed to customize the system. Next, connect any domain or subdomain that will be used for the client's website, funnel, forms, or booking pages. You will usually need access to wherever the client manages their DNS records. That could be a domain registrar, a website provider, or another DNS service. You do not necessarily need to move the client's entire website into GoHighLevel. For example, the existing website could remain where it is, while a subdomain such as book.example.com is connected to a GoHighLevel calendar or funnel. Before changing DNS records, confirm what the existing domain is already being used for. You do not want to disconnect an active website or interfere with the client's current email service. After connecting the domain, test every important page: form, calendar, redirect, and SSL connection. The website domain and the email sending domain serve different purposes. If the client will send workflow emails, campaigns, calendar messages, or other business communication through HighLevel, configure a dedicated sending domain. In many cases, this will be a subdomain, such as replies.example.com or mail.example.com. Using a subdomain is especially important when the client's main domain is already connected to Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, or another email provider. The goal is to authenticate the messages being sent through the platform and protect the reputation of the client's primary domain. Once the required DNS records have been added and the sending domain is verified, confirm which types of email will use it. Then send test emails, check that the sender information is correct, and confirm that replies go to the appropriate inbox. For clients sending a meaningful amount of email, deliverability should be treated as part of onboarding, not something you investigate only after messages begin landing in spam. If the client wants their personal or business email conversations synchronized with HighLevel, connect the appropriate Gmail or Outlook inbox. This is different from the dedicated sending domain. The dedicated sending domain supports platform-generated email. The connected inbox allows individual users to send and receive one-to-one messages through their own email account and keep those conversations associated with contacts inside the CRM. Decide which users need an inbox connected and make sure each person authorizes their own account. Then test the message in both directions so you know the synchronization is working correctly. If the client will use calling, SMS, missed call text back, voice AI, or automated lead follow-up, they will normally need a phone number connected to the sub-account. Choose a number that makes sense for the business and its service area, then configure the basic calling settings. This may include call forwarding, voicemail, recording preferences, caller ID, business hours, and which users or systems should receive the calls. If the client already has an established business number, decide whether that number should be ported, forwarded, or kept separate. Do not make that decision without understanding how customers currently reach the business. You should also test inbound calls, outbound calls, voicemail, forwarding, and text messages before launch. If the client will send business text messages using a United States 10-digit local number, a 2P registration is a critical part of onboarding. You will need accurate legal business information, including the business name, address, website, tax identification information, messaging use case, sample messages, and the way contacts provide consent. The information submitted should match the client's official records. The website should also clearly explain how people opt in and include the required privacy policy and terms information. Approval can take time, and a rejected submission can delay the launch. For that reason, collect the necessary information early, rather than waiting until every other part of the account is finished. After the campaign is approved, confirm that the correct phone number is actually linked to the approved campaign. An approved campaign does not automatically mean every number in the sub-account is ready to send messages. If the client books appointments, connect the appropriate external calendar. That could be a Google Calendar or an Outlook calendar. The external calendar helps prevent double bookings by allowing existing events to block unavailable time. Inside HighLevel, you will also need to configure the calendar that the customer sees. Confirm the appointment duration, availability, buffer time, minimum scheduling notice, assigned users, meeting location, confirmation messages, reminders, and rescheduling rules. If multiple employees take appointments, decide whether the calendar should use round-robin assignment, a specific team member, or another distribution method. Finally, book a test appointment. Confirm that it appears on the correct calendars, blocks the correct time, sends the right notifications, and triggers the expected workflow. If the client will collect payments through order forms, invoices, calendars, subscriptions, or other HighLevel tools, connect their payment processor. Stripe is a common option, but HighLevel supports other payment providers as well. The important point is that the payment account should normally belong to the client receiving the money. Confirm the business details, bank account, currency, payment methods, taxes, products, prices, subscription rules, and refund process. Then run a test transaction and verify what the customer sees before and after payment. If payment is not part of the service you sold, you may not need this step immediately. That is another example of the onboarding process changing based on the offer. Now, let's look at how the service changes the remaining setup. Imagine that you sold Voice AI to a home service business. In addition to the core setup, you may need to collect the services the company offers, the locations or zip codes it serves, the hours when someone can be transferred to a staff member, the difference between routine calls and emergency calls, the questions the AI should ask before booking an appointment, the jobs the company does not accept, the pricing information the AI is allowed to discuss, the answers to frequently asked questions, and the instructions for what should happen when the AI cannot confidently answer. You may also need to configure the Voice AI agent, connect the phone number, set call forwarding rules, connect the booking calendar, and build workflows for confirmations, missed calls, follow-up messages, and internal notifications. Then test several different call scenarios. Test a qualified lead, an unqualified lead, an emergency request, an after-hours call, a caller who wants a human, and a caller who provides incomplete information. The technical connection may only take a few minutes. The real onboarding work is teaching the system how that particular business operates. Now imagine that you sold reputation management. The client may not need Voice AI, a complex sales pipeline, or a payment processor. Instead, you may need to connect the Google business profile, confirm the correct location, collect the review link, import or identify eligible customers, and decide what event should trigger the review request. For one business, the request might be sent after an opportunity reaches a completed stage. For another business, it might be sent after an appointment is marked as completed. You should also determine whether the request will be sent by text, email, or both. Confirm the sender information, timing, reminder sequence, internal notification process, and what happens when someone leaves a negative response. Then test the experience as if you were a customer. Make sure the links work, the correct location appears, and the messages sound like the client's business. For a social media management client, the onboarding process shifts again. You may need to connect Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Google Business Profile, or YouTube, depending on the package you sold. You will also need the client's logo, colors, fonts, images, offers, audience information, brand voice, and content restrictions. Decide how often content will be posted, which platforms receive each type of content, and whether the client needs to approve posts before they are scheduled. Identify who provides raw photos or videos, who writes the copy, who responds to comments, and how revisions will be requested. Then create a small test batch of content, confirm that it publishes to the correct accounts, appears in the correct format, and follows the agreed approval process before scheduling an entire month. Although the technical setup changes, the onboarding experience itself can still be automated. When a new client purchases, your onboarding workflow could send a welcome email, deliver the onboarding form or survey, send the kickoff call calendar, notify your internal team, create onboarding tasks, move the client into an onboarding pipeline, send reminders when information is missing, and notify the client when the system is ready for review. You can create different onboarding workflows for different offers. A Voice AI client should not receive the exact same questionnaire and task list as a reputation management client. The overall framework can remain consistent, while the questions, tasks, integrations, and deliverables change. So if you're selling sub-accounts, you typically should not absorb all of your clients' phone, email, and AI costs as a permanent business expense. You can structure your billing so the client pays for the services they use or include a usage allowance in your monthly package and price it accordingly. But there is an important cash flow distinction. The agency wallet may still be charged first, and then the client is rebilled. You should keep enough money in the wallet, turn on the correct rebilling settings, connect a working payment method for the client, and monitor failed payments. You also need to be clear with clients about what is included in their subscription and what is billed separately. Otherwise, small usage charges can create unnecessary confusion. Before handing the account to the client, test the system from beginning to end. Submit the forms, book an appointment, send an email, send and receive a text message, call the phone number. Test the payment process when applicable, review the pipeline, confirm that internal notifications reach the correct people, check that custom values populate correctly, and confirm that workflows stop, continue, and branch when expected. It is also helpful to test the system with the client during the handoff call. Show them where their conversations, contacts, opportunities, calendars, payments, and reports are located. Explain which parts of the system your team manages and which parts the client is responsible for. Finally, confirm where the client should go for support and how future changes should be requested. A successful GoHighLevel onboarding process has 2 layers. The first layer is the foundation. That includes the sub-account, business information, custom values, domains, email setup, phone system, messaging compliance, calendars, inboxes, payments, users, and testing. The second layer is the service-specific setup. That is where you customize the account around the client's business, the offer they purchased, and the result you promise to deliver. Do not try to force every client through one identical checklist. Build a repeatable framework and then create different versions for each offer you sell. If you want to try GoHighLevel, Jesse's affiliate link is in the description below. If you sign up through Jesse's affiliate link, one of the bonuses is the option to schedule an onboarding call with him. During that call, Jesse can help you get your own HighLevel account set up, answer your initial questions, and walk you through the same foundational steps you will eventually use when onboarding your clients. The goal is not only to give you access to the software, it is to help you understand how the platform is structured, so you feel more confident setting up client accounts of your own. You can also join Jesse's free HighLevel and AI community for more tutorials, automation strategies, and practical resources. If this video helped you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which part of client onboarding you would like to see in a more detailed tutorial. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.